Good morning. Happy Saturday to everyone. My name is Dr. Peter A. James. I am the high performance coach, and I want to welcome you to the Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Show live. We come here every Saturday morning, same time, same channel on Facebook Live and on YouTube to bring to you these pearls, these gems from Napoleon Hill's phenomenal book, Think and Grow Rich. And every Saturday morning, we pontificate on this book. We have a special guest usually that comes in to analyze how the book was utilized in their lives, personal as well as professional. But then we also have some phenomenal co-hosts that join me here that we also analyze how it has impacted them as well. So I'm excited for you all to be here. Thank you so much for jumping in on Saturday morning or whenever you're listening to this show. Don't hesitate to jump on into Facebook Live with their comments, to ask any questions, to make any comments. Also, those of you on YouTube, welcome. Same thing. Welcome your comments for sure. But enough about the background here. Let's jump on into the show. I'd be remiss if I did not start welcoming immediately my distinguished, my phenomenal angels, who I call them all, our co-hosts for sure for this show. I'm going to start out by the leadership strategist, Galen Bingham. Galen, good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you. This is always a great way to start our weekend, and look forward to this conversation in particular. This chapter, this principle on autosuggestion, this is, we talked earlier about this being the glue that really kind of holds everything together. This really is what Napoleon Hill talks about when he says that there is no such thing as something for nothing. You have to be willing to do the work. This is part of that work. Autosuggestion, because this is how you influence the subconscious mind. It doesn't take anything to have a mindset focused on failure and poverty. In order to influence your mind to do something positive, you've got to use autosuggestion to create the kind of thoughts that you want. So I'm really excited about getting into this material, and then speaking with our guest as well. We've spent some time with her. Incredibly dynamic. Can't wait for the audience to get to meet her as well.
Awesome, Galen. Thank you so much for teasing our guest. Hey, thank you so much for getting up early on Saturday morning, being intentional about this auto-suggestion chapter. Kudos to you for sure. Let's bring on in Miss Sula 2, Ursula Odom. Good morning to you, Ursula. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Dr. Peter. I am wonderful and excited about today's show because, see, this is about life itself. Either we are being programmed or we program ourselves. Which one are we going to do? And being aware that this is what this is being aware that this is what's happening means that we are a little bit more in control. So I am so excited about our guest today again and being a part of this wonderful Saturday morning.
Ursula, you went deep already this morning. You're either being programmed or you're programming yourself. Love it already. Those of you who are watching, which are you? Are you being programmed? You're already taking notes, Galen? Programmed or programming yourself? Wow, already. Listen, we have to bring in the master builder now, Mrs. Ann McNeil. Good morning to you. Ann McNeil, are you being programmed or are you programming yourself?
Always programming, starting with the desire. That first chapter, it is the beginning of everything. And the concentration on belief and faith, you can get nothing but autosuggestion. So I'm excited about being here, excited about my friend Beatrice sharing with us today. This is a first. It's going to be a phenomenal show. And again, my name is Ann McNeil, and I am the Master Builder.
And yes, you are. And yes, I already know that Ann McNeil, she is programming. She's leading the programming for sure. So thank you all. Of course, good to see you all as always. But we have a special guest. We have a friend of the show this morning who is here today to talk about this Think and Grow Rich and how it has impacted her life. So I want to bring in, just for a quick few minutes, Beatrice Louissaint. Good morning to you. Welcome to Think and Grow Rich Live. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I'm excited about the opportunity. Thank you, Anne, for inviting me to participate. I'm still on faith. I am working on my faith. Okay, so that I can be programmed, to achieve higher heights.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, that's not a bad place to be by any stretch of the imagination. So stay there. It's okay. It's for sure. Tease us a little bit, if you could there, Beatrice, about who you are. Tell us a little bit about your background. Not a whole lot, because we're going to dive in a little bit deeper later, but give the audience a taste of who Beatrice is.
Well, I always say my story is only true in America, but particularly Miami. I'm originally from Haiti, and South Florida is such a diverse place. My dad came to the US and started one of the first Haitian American churches in Miami. So my life has really been incredibly blessed, being an immigrant to this country and the kinds of opportunities that I've had. Almost 30 years ago, I met Anne McNeil when I was the director of the Black Business Association, and she's been an incredible mentor. And she introduced me to the book, Think and Grow Rich. And it definitely has had a profound impact on my life. By using the tenets in the book, I have literally seen how my personal as well as professional life and business life has been transformed. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to have been introduced to the book, but to personally be mentored by Anne. She's always a text or phone call away, so I'm thankful for that.
And that's actually for all of us. She's actually a text or a phone call away for all of us, because we sometimes need some inspiration from Anne McNeil. Galen, I want to bring you back into the conversation really quickly, because you do us a good deed of telling us about these 13 steps, these 13 chapters of Think and Grow Rich overall. So I was hoping you could introduce them a little bit for us this morning.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this process that was created in 1937, it was accumulated, compiled. Napoleon Hill had an opportunity to meet with 500 of the most successful people of his period and try to understand what was the common traits, what were the common principles that was generating success for all of these people. And it was actually a challenge given to him by Mr. Andrew Carnegie, and said, hey, look, this is an opportunity that I really would like for you to take on. And here's the kicker: I'm not going to pay you a cent. But if you're smart and you can understand what the common traits might be between all of these successful people and how they were able to achieve their success, then this is going to be worth more than I could possibly give you. That's exactly what he did. That's what these principles are. There are 13 of them. And as you listen to each of the steps, I want you to pay attention to how they build on one another. It all starts with not only desire, but having a burning desire. But then each principle comes to build on the
Number 1 is desire. Number 1 is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step 2 is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the MasterMind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the mastermind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the mastermind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, but what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
Good stuff. I want to bring Galen back in. He had such a phenomenal thought, insight into those 13 steps. Galen, we were so excited about these 13 steps. We didn't even get a chance to hear you, man. So please finish your thought.
No, just the point about how all of this builds on one another. And if you're paying attention to the 13 principles when they were sharing just a second ago, step number 11 is the subconscious mind. And that is our link to infinite intelligence. That's our ability to connect to all this information. The question is, how do you influence the subconscious mind? Well, the way you influence the subconscious mind is through autosuggestion. This is how we get to that information that we don't know where it came from, those insights that just seem to come out of nowhere. This is how we influence the ability to have success on purpose, which is what I like to talk about. So let's get into it. I'm ready for this conversation.
Absolutely. I want to tease this autosuggestion. You've already done so, Galen. I want to read it from the book itself. Napoleon Hill says that autosuggestion, stated another way, is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication, between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. And Galen alluded to that, ladies and gentlemen. If you are here listening to us on Facebook Live or YouTube, I encourage you, please jump on in with your comments, jump on in with your questions, especially around autosuggestion, but also about our distinguished guest who I'm getting ready to bring back in, because we want to dive into Miss Beatrice and how she has utilized autosuggestion in her own life. And Beatrice, your bio is robust, to say the least. I will say it's robust. You have been very instrumental in helping businesses get moving in Florida. So I want to, you kind of gave us a little background on who you were, where you're from, but now dive into a little bit more about what you do, what you have done, and then maybe just a tad bit about how autosuggestion has played into that, if possible.
Okay. So I'm the president of the Florida State Minority Supplier Development Council. Most people call us the council. We serve the entire state of Florida. We help Hispanic, Asian, African American, and Native American-owned companies to grow. We certify that they're 51% minority-owned and operated. We help connect them to business opportunities. And in our 45-year history, we've helped firms with a little bit over $40 billion in contracts. We also develop them. So we have several programs that help build the capacity of minority firms, from our loan fund to our management and technical assistance. We have advanced management programs at Kellogg, Dartmouth, Washington State University. We have a mentor protege program. We have a contract with the Department of Transportation, where the Florida Department of Transportation, where we help primes meet their DB goals. With the SBA 7J program, we help companies to learn how to do business with the federal government. And then we run 2 minority business development centers, one in Orlando and Miami. And their focus is to really help companies to grow by providing management and technical assistance, with a big focus on access to procurement opportunities and bonding and financing. This has been a really tough year, unprecedented in our world in terms of dealing with this pandemic. And we have played a role in helping companies not just survive, but thrive. Last year, we saw an increase of 24% of the establishment of companies and businesses. So there's never a bad time to start a business. We know that it is definitely the fastest way to wealth. And some incredible companies were started during difficult times, including Disney, Microsoft was started during a downturn in the economy. So I'm so excited to work with the companies that have been part of the network forever and those that are joining the organization. We're part of a national organization that's headquartered in New York, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and there are 23 of us around the country that serves minority businesses nationally. Working with entrepreneurs, there's nothing, I say the word to describe an entrepreneur is risk taker or crazy, take your pick, okay? But definitely a risk taker. And, the principles in Think and Grow Rich, many of the businesses that I interact with, they may have not read that book, but believe you me, if it wasn't because of faith, autosuggestion, belief, definite purpose, focus, they could not have done, accomplished some of the things that they've accomplished. And so I see how the principles are working every single day to help people build wealth in communities of color.
Yeah, wow. I'll just kind of surmise everything that you just said. Beatrice is the person to know in the state of Florida for sure. So thank you so much for giving us that background, because even I'm just jotting down notes, very robust of everything that you're saying overall. I love also what you said about, starting a business. I'm all about businesses and helping businesses grow, coaching business owners for that matter. And I heard you talk about even starting a business in this type of environment. We're in the middle of a pandemic, or hopefully coming out of it. but businesses still need to start. Businesses still need to thrive throughout this pandemic. What might you share with a business owner who is hesitant about starting a business during this time, about progressing, about thinking they can grow? Maybe what are some things you might share with them, maybe from a Napoleon Hill's book, that could apply to them as they move forward in this type of environment, or as you just mentioned, in any environment, because businesses have been started in a myriad of different environments. But what might you share with a business owner who's coming to you for connection, for guidance, especially to grow in this type of a market?
Well, the first thing is, hard work pays off. I mean, nothing comes easy, and you find that throughout the book, Think and Grow Rich, and really not giving up. And where that the gentleman in the book that was looking for gold and was just feet away before giving up, and someone else took advantage. Definitely, you have to sometimes even be lucky in business, but nothing beats hard work. Yeah. The first thing is you really have to be in a growth sector. A lot of minority businesses, and particularly Black businesses, focus a lot on lifestyle kinds of things. And it's really important if you can find a way to invent something, revolutionize, improve things in the life sciences, STEM, technology, space, the environment. We're having a lot of issues with the environment in terms of sustainability. We've got to look at opportunities where there's real growth. If you're able to export what you do, that bodes really well. Companies that are involved in international trade tend to do better. So if you've got both the domestic and an international market, that can help you in terms of growing your company. And so access to capital still is a major issue. So definitely got to make sure you've got that great credit. Some people use credit cards, some people use, the lines of credits on their homes, but there's so many ways to finance a company, whether it's angel investors, debt. So there's so many ways that you can look at how do you grow a company. If you've got an amazing idea and you can show where you're having success and that you can be profitable, there are people that will invest in you. Right now, there's so much money out in the street in terms of what is available. And several funds have started just for minority businesses, women-owned businesses, as a result of the pandemic and last year's racial unrest. Planning, nothing like planning. And throughout the book, talk about planning and the role that plays. And I think as entrepreneurs, many times business owners, they've got to be the cook, the janitor, the salesperson, but they do need to take time out quietly. Just like in the book, in this chapter, Autosuggestion, taking time out to really focus and think and plan and dream about what it is that you want to do to work on the business rather than in the business. Mm-hmm. So critical. And then those mentors, who's doing what you're doing well, who's done it before, that you can interact with, that can provide you the kind of guidance, sort of the kitchen cabinet of sorts, who, as you're growing your company, as you're making decisions, that will be available to you to guide you.
I've heard you mention a ton of chapters already from this book, Autosuggestion, Desire, the Faith, lots of details I'm hearing as you talk about this text overall, as you talk about businesses as they're looking to grow. I want to bring Ursula into the conversation because I know that she is a business owner as well, and she is passionate about growing her business and helping other businesses to grow as well. So Ursula, this is a lively conversation, and we have a resource in Miss Beatrice right here with us in our midst. So the floor is yours.
I realize now that I have an emotional attachment to this subject and what she does, because the first book that I wrote, this woman right here, Doris Ross Reddick, she started the Minority Business Development Office here Office of Supplier Diversity here in the Hillsborough County school system. And I now realize that she used autosuggestion, because at that first board meeting, what she did was she asked for the numbers being spent with Black people, Black businesses. It was $1,084 a year.
Wow.
And she came back every single board meeting and said, give me the numbers. And I don't care if they increased by twofold. You say, that's nice, but not good enough. So just think about the autosuggestion part of that. They knew when they saw her face, she was going to ask that question and they had to have an answer. And she grew that to millions of dollars, found Black architects to build schools. I mean, she did a phenomenal job. And so when I think about the emotional attachment to what she did for this community and knowing that you're doing that for Florida, how does that feel? How do you use that position?
Well, I feel blessed every single day to have this opportunity. We trademarked the phrase doing well while doing good. And it's so important, being a preacher's kid, that's never far in terms of being centered and whose I am and who I am. And one way to really have impact is to have wealth. And there's nothing wrong with that. And how you use that wealth to transform lives, to provide jobs, to pay taxes, whether you support a candidate of your choice, the church that you support, the children's programming, providing scholarships. That's what entrepreneurship allows you to do. It gives you freedom. So to be able to have impact and generational wealth, because now, having been in my role over 20 years, I see second and third generation entrepreneurs. And that is so exciting. So every day when I wake up, I am ready to go to work because I can see the impact. Right now, we're running a program for Kauffman, the Kauffman Foundation. We're an affiliate of the Kauffman Foundation for individuals that are just thinking about starting companies. And they're micro companies, but to hear about their stories and what they're learning in the class that's helping them, whether it's trademarks, pricing, should I be an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, and so forth, just seeing the light go off for them in the class that we're hosting is incredible. And then on the opposite end of that spectrum, we're very fortunate in Hillsborough County in Tampa, one of the largest Black-owned firms in the United States, Coke Florida, owned by Troy Taylor, is certified with us. So when you see those red trucks around Florida, a Black man runs that company and had an incredible year last year in the middle of a pandemic. Another great story, MasTech, the first Hispanic-controlled publicly traded company, and they made the Fortune 500 list. And I remember being on vacation when I got the email. Should not be looking at emails while I'm on vacation. But when someone says, "Hey, I made the Fortune 500 list," hey, that's history in the making. And the company is controlled by the Moss family and managed on a day-to-day. So we're helping from mega companies to some small companies. And it's exciting to see how they are bringing new ideas to market, serving their customers, doing business globally, and having and doing well while doing good.
Nice.
Like that, Ursula, doing well while doing good. That's good stuff. From my perspective also, Ursula, so exciting to hear how businesses who are managed or owned by people of color are thriving in the state of Florida, but also being able to thrive during this pandemic. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Beatrice, for sure. I want to bring Galen back into the conversation overall. Also another business owner here. Galen, a lot of pearls that Beatrice is dropping on us, a lot of details. But also, I'm hearing so many of these pervasive themes from Think and Grow Rich, from Autosuggestion, from a lot of the chapters from the book. What questions might you have for Beatrice there, Galen? You are on mute, sir.
One of the things that you shared that I really identified with is this pervasive notion that entrepreneurs are often accused of being a little crazy, just a little off. And I can absolutely relate to that. And I think it's because, and this is what I want to get your perspective on, I think it's because to be a successful entrepreneur, really to be successful in almost anything, you've got to see the reality of your current state and then speak something different. You've got to speak what you want in the face of not seeing it right now. And that really is autosuggestion, seeing and saying something different than what you currently see exists. What are some examples where you've done just that, or you've encouraged some of your clients to do just that? See the reality of what's here now, but speak something different. Speak what you want, although it may not currently exist.
Right. Well, you definitely have to see it before it happens. And as entrepreneurs, you're really designing your future. And, I think it's Martin Luther King that said, you don't have to see this whole staircase to climb it. And it's such a leap of faith to start a company, to say, I'm going to strike on my own. I'm going to leave this good job, the benefits, the expense accounts and so forth, to try this on my own. And as entrepreneurs, you don't stop dreaming. You don't stop planning. The hard work that comes into it. People don't understand, why are you sacrificing so much to focus on the growth of the company? But strategy is so important. It can't be sort of throw everything to see what hits the wall. Being very strategic, whether it's the partnerships, who your clients are, what states, what countries you're going to do business in, how do you grow by joint ventures, strategic alliances, where are there other opportunities? You may be in one area, and there's opportunities to grow and to within a particular industry. Really understanding what's happening in your industry, being engaged with your associations, your chambers, always doing continuous education. I'm a big reader. I love to start and get to the middle, and may not necessarily always get to the end, but I may be the one that it goes to the last page to see what the punchline is, or what happens at the end. But there's a lot of information available online, lots of things on YouTube if you want to continue to really focus on how do you sharpen your skills, how do you make certain that you are building for the future and to give yourself the best opportunity for success.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things that we were talking about actually before we went live were just books that you have put into your reading list, and the things that you crowd your mind with. And I think, Dr. Peter, I'm gonna steal from you a little bit. I know one of your favorite quotes is that I think Les Brown said that this is a battle for territory, and once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want automatically takes over. And if we don't crowd our mind with those positive thoughts, with that vision that Beatrice talked about, that of the life that we want to have, then all of a sudden everyone else will start trying to tell us the life that we need to have for their benefit. So I just really, really appreciate the approach. I would love for you to, I'm going to put you on the spot, Beatrice, just for a hot second. I would love for you to share just one or two of the books that you have really enjoyed to help you create the kind of vision for your life or for your business. You shared several of them before we went live. I'd love for you to just share a couple of them here.
So one of my favorite books is Success, the Glenn Bland Method. And it talks about the love of family, love of God, love of country. I added a love of self because I came to the US without speaking English. And I remember being picked on for the longest time for being different, for not speaking English or speaking English with an accent. I could say, see, now look at me, right? Okay. But so that was definitely important. We're accepting myself and where who I am, and but also to what can I do to continuously improve. Love of family, and I say love of work, but not just WORK, but HARD, hard work. Okay, nothing worth having is easy. So the Success, the Glenn Bland Method is one of my favorite books. Another one is oh my God, the 10,000 Hours, the Story of Success. I forget. It's a scientist who's a former writer, science writer that wrote the book. Oh my God, I just drew a blank of the title, but it'll come to me. Another book that I really have enjoyed is The One Thing by Keller. The same folks with real estate, but how do you get things accomplished by focusing on the most difficult task and sort of like if you had like cards stack up and they just sort of fall down because you're focused on what's most important, because many of us try to do the easy things first or procrastinate. And so, if you focus on the one thing, and the book talks about what's that one thing for your life? What's that purpose for your life? Another amazing book that I loved is by Carol Dweck. It's about mindset. Do you have a growth mindset, or do you have a mindset that is not focused on growth, that's focused, fear, and how having the right mindset, and you see this throughout Think and Grow Rich, can be so impactful, being positive, really having discipline, focused on planning, having a definitive purpose and time frame for getting something done. But that mindset is everything. And I know personally, I spend about 30 minutes a day putting on my armor and getting my mindset ready for the day, whatever it might bring. And then I listen to a lot of things on YouTube, and I love Robin Sharma. Oh my God, if you all have not listened to Robin Sharma, I'm part of the 5 a.m. club, sometimes even earlier. Okay. But he talks a lot about mindset. He talks about preparing for the day, journaling, really being in the moment, but highly recommend Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club.
Galen, that's some good stuff there. Beatrice, you started talking my language. I started getting excited. And Galen, you probably know this. You said some books that I'm totally fond of. The One Thing, of course, is one that is right here. I pulled right up for myself. Mindset by Carol Dweck, which I talk about probably daily. So thank you so much for plugging those books for sure, Beatrice. I want to shift a little bit as we look to bring Ann McNeil in. And I want to ask you, Beatrice, about the importance of network and some people you can rely on, and a mastermind, because I know you and Ann are very close. And I want to hear how that has benefited you, but also how that network, that mastermind of individuals benefits a business owner as they're setting out on their path to do great things. I think we might be you still there with us, Beatrice?
Peter?
Yes.
Yes, while we're waiting for Beatrice to come back, I just wanted to suggest we might need to do a part B, a part 2 to this show.
This is beneficial for business owners for sure.
Well,
yes.
Yes, we are almost at that point of the show where we are, getting close to the end. And so I just wanted to just mention a couple of things, and that is the power of autosuggestion and how it is connected to your desire. And Galen said, and he said, not just desire, but how it's connected to your burning desire. And so when Napoleon Hill talks about the power of the capacity to concentrate, we talked about this a little bit last week, because the power and the principle of concentration, which is in another one of Napoleon Hill's books, really helps us to understand that when you take your affirmation that's created from desire and you read it with your eyes closed, how you are able to imagine the end in mind before you can even get there. And by doing that continuously, focusing on the exact amount of money you desire. This is the power of autosuggestion, because I just want to just remind us that autosuggestion, the self-talk, and this principle means absolutely nothing if you are not clear on exactly what you desire. Napoleon Hill tells us, hold that thought of the money, for example. This is just an example if money is your desire. But since he talked about it, I'll just use that as an example. He said, hold your thoughts on that amount of money. We're talking about the 6 keys to riches. Hold that, hold your thoughts and your mind on that and concentrate with fixation of attention. With that, the eyes closed, and then just imagine being in possession of the money. Now, if you want something else, I'd suggest you do the exact same thing using auto-suggestion self-talk with your eyes closed, and imagine that contract. You already have it. You know, that mate, you're already going on that date. You know, that trip, that child finishing high school or college, and you're sitting in the audience and you're just watching intently as they receive that diploma. Whatever it is you desire, the power of autosuggestion is being able to create an affirmation statement and use that principle to see what you desire in your mind. So, Peter, I just wanted to just share those thoughts as we talk about this particular principle and how and why it works. And of course, while I'm already here, we'll talk about the power of our annual meeting that we host every year in January at the Embassy Suites, which we're about to outgrow the Embassy Suites. Actually, we had our event this year in the middle of COVID. We had it last year when COVID was just coming upon us, and we will host again in 2022 our annual meeting for your life. And I tell people this is not a conference, because oftentimes we think of a conference, you're going to get, you know, the goodie bag, you're going to get, you know, the breakout sessions, you're going to have a keynote speaker. This is not that. What this is a place of accountability for you and your life and your family and your health and your wealth, to really provide a place where you can go and check in to see how you're doing. Check in to see if you are doing what you said you were going to do. Check in to see others who are on the same journey that you're on. And so, Peter, I'll go back to you, but I just wanted to share that because I think that it's very important as you look at the registration. You can go to Eventbrite, you can go to internationalmasterminders.com and just search Think and Grow Rich Annual Accountability Meeting, and that will give the information. You know, it's the 8th and 9th of 2022, January, and we start the Friday night with the reception. I'm going to encourage everybody, please register before the price goes up. Yes, the price is going up because, again, my friend and Galen talked about him earlier, my friend Les Brown, and I say that endearingly because many people don't realize that for many years I was the motivator to the motivator. And Les Brown and I have been friends since the 70s, way before he was quote Les Brown. But he has a saying that he says, you know, people don't appreciate what they pay for. And the more they pay, the more they pay attention. And so this is a very valuable event. And we, for many years, have lowered the investment of $79 to allow people to have no excuse why they cannot afford to come. But again, we do know and understand that the more you pay, the more you pay attention. And so it is a limited amount of space because of COVID and a lot of other reasons. We're running out of space. And so the investment is not a cost. It's not an expense. It's an investment. The investment will be going up So you really want to go ahead and register now if you're thinking about being held accountable. So Peter, we'll look forward to our awesome Miss Beatrice coming back. But I really think we should consider doing a part two. I really I really think we should bring her back.
And here's why I agree with you. And there's many people who are listening to our show who have business ownership dreams. Well, number one, maybe owning a business right now and not quite sure what their footing needs to be like moving forward in light of this pandemic, or in light of the future, what's going to happen after this pandemic. And I think Beatrice provides a great resource. And I want to really bring you back in and talk to really quickly about this ties into the annual accountability meeting, but I know you and Beatrice have a solid relationship that has benefited you both. I want to hear the value of surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals. So I was hoping if Beatrice is back, or Anne, if we could talk about just what that is from your perspective.
Absolutely. Well, considering that thought, I want to also thank all of our participants that are chiming in: Lefford, Imelda, Valencia Gibbs, Tashana, thank you for joining. Frank Zarumba, wow. We also have a lot of you that have been joining us every Saturday, and we really want you to know, Doretha, such an added value. We really want you to know how much we value you. And going to your point, Peter, this relationship that we have, whether it is formal or informal, is basically one of the principles, and it's the MasterMind principle. And Beatrice has been involved. Thank you, Ms. Wright. Awesome. Beatrice has been involved with our International MasterMind Association now for almost 15 years. She is in a mastermind group. There's 3 of them: Beatrice Louissaint, Angela M. Williams, and Rufus Curry. And they have mastermind every single week. They first started out by meeting twice a week, and over the 15 years, they now meet once a week. But also, many of us, as a part of our International Mastermind Association, Peter, we have our individual mastermind groups that we meet in, but the organization itself is a place for groups. So when I read the book in 1979, 9 p.m., December 31st, and I have to keep saying that to implant in all of our minds that everybody should have a date. When you draw the line in the sand and you say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to do some things differently, because if I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm going to keep getting what I've been getting. And what we realized from our association, Beatrice and myself, and many of us that's involved with the International Mastermind Association, that we feed on each other. And this is one of the reasons why it is so important and so powerful for us to build the International Mastermind Association, because so often when you're in a mastermind group with a small or large group of individuals, you don't have accountability and connectivity to others who are also in their own mastermind group. And our desire is to create this platform and other platforms where we come every Saturday. We also want to, Brittany, if you can put the link, we also want to encourage you to join us every Friday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, where we come on the Think and Grow Rich International Mastermind Facebook group, and we encourage each person to share one aha moment from any reading that they've done in the book. And what this does, and it's a free call, you go to Eventbrite, or you can go to our International Mastermind Association Facebook group and join, or you can go to International Mastermind Association website and join. But it is a free call every Friday. It's only about 15 minutes. Each person get about 1 minute, and many, many, many people just listening. They don't say anything. They just listening for the encouragement. My point, going back to your question, Peter, is this. Think and Grow Rich has given us a principle for masterminding, connecting with people of like minds and like spirits, to serve as an accountability on your goals. Those goals can be personal, they can be professional, they can be business, whatever the goals are for you. Who is holding you accountable, and where is that place of accountability? And so we're providing you a place of accountability where you can be held accountable for whatever it is you desire, preferably the 6 keys. And so that is how our relationship. You've heard a lot of the books that she mentioned, which are books that we read. We read something in every area of our life: spiritual, family, financial, health, education, our personal development, our business, career, civic, and creativity. And welcome back, Beatrice. Peter, Beatrice.
Thank you. Listen, talk about not giving up on the internet. Okay, I found a way. I found the jetpack, and so hey, technology sometimes fails us.
Well, while Peter is coming off mute,
Mhm.
we're going to go ahead and continue.
Nice. What I was saying while I was on mute, and is Beatrice, thank you so much for being persistent and coming back with us. Beatrice, we've already decided without you that we're going to bring you back again.
Okay.
So just know that in advance. But Beatrice, I want you to start off by letting the audience know how they can get in touch with you, because I'm sure there are business owners in the state of Florida or outside of Florida that would benefit from having your contact information. So if you could just let us know how best to get in touch with you moving forward.
Okay. So the council's address is fsmsdc.org. It's the Florida State Minority Supplier Development Council. And that was our website, fsmsdc.org. And our phone number is 305-762-6151. And we have our upcoming Business Expo, May 19th and 20th. Our theme is the new POS. So it's a play on words, point of sales. But for us, POS stands for partnerships, opportunities, and strategies. Our keynote speaker, day one, is going to be Emmitt Smith and Chris Carter, both Hall of Fame NFL players. They have a company that they own together, Gold Jacket LLC. When you get into the Hall of Fame, you get a gold jacket. They're doing, the company focuses on real estate deals. Emmitt has one of the top real estate development companies, Black owned in the country. Chris has a facilities company, and they've come together to do some things in the state of Florida and throughout the country. So they're going to be talking about their life after sports and how they've used entrepreneurship to continue to create a legacy for themselves and their families.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
It's so important that we bring you back, because I think business ownership is so important for people of color to think about. Even if you have a job currently, this business ownership, this entrepreneurship path allows you to have many more opportunities, many more options, and much more ownership of your career and your life, as opposed to just letting someone else kind of manage your career and your life. And that's often what happens when we continue to work for someone. So I think this conversation is so important there, Beatrice, which is why it's also so important to bring you back as well. Thank you so much for sharing your contact information. And McNeil, can you share your contact information, maybe an aha, what you took away from our conversation today as well?
Listen, I have a page, B, and we talk, but I have a page, and my main aha that you said, Beatrice, was you must be in a growth sector. And that is critically important for me, because as a volunteer with Better Investing, we focus our financial portfolio on the growth sector. And when you said it, it connected for me in how and why many of our businesses and many of our members are in growth sectors, because we also study the investing industry and learning how to analyze stocks and invest with Better Investing. You can reach me at annmcneil.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are interested in receiving the 6 keys to riches, which Napoleon Hill talks about how much money you want, doing what by when, and all those things. You can text the word "and," that's ANN, at 55678. You can text the word "and" at 55678. But if you're interested in clarity, and B, we didn't get to talk about it this show, so we'll bring you back and talk about the clarity that we discussed and the impact 2 weeks ago you shared with me in terms of the self-confidence formula clarity. If you're interested in having Beatrice Louissaint's level of clarity, you can go to my website and join us at the Clarity Mastermind group that we have. It's called McNeil Factor Clarity, and join us once a month on the first Tuesday to help you grow your clarity and self-confidence. And so again, Galen, Peter, Ursula, Beatrice, you've been phenomenal. And like Peter said, we must bring you back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's bring in Ursula. Ursula, you started us off with a great quote. Maybe you could finish us up with a great quote as well, maybe your aha moments, but also how can our audience get in touch with you?
Thank you, Peter. My thought at this point is visual. When I want to share with you how to get in touch with me, I thought about the website, Sulato.com. But this time, click on books to purchase, and it will be like going to the window of my life. You can see the different things that are there. And it's like looking out and seeing a lot of little birds, different colors, different stories. The lovebird, the peace bird, whatever. They tell different stories. And this is one of my newest books that you will find out there. It is a children's book, hot off the press. And this is what motivated me to talk about this today. This was the first book I ever wrote for someone else. So explore, go to Sulato.com and see the stories that have been written for and about other people.
Good stuff, Ursula. Thank you so much. Galen Bingham, the leadership strategist, pull you back in, sir. Your ahas, but also how do we get in touch with you, Galen?
Yeah, this has been at the core of the entire process for me. So one of the key ahas that I was reminded of is how difficult it is to be creative in stressful situations. And I'm going to say that again. It's really, really hard to be creative in stressful situations. So if you are really committed to being successful on purpose, you've got to preload your brain with these affirmations, with these mantras, with this descriptions of the life that you're trying to design, so that when you are in your stressful situation, you know exactly what you need to repeat to yourself. You know exactly what you need to think about, so that you don't get caught into the space of letting someone else guide your life, letting someone else influence what you think, letting someone else determine how you're going to move about this world. Great conversation. I love the fact that we're going to have Beatrice back, because this was a lot of great real conversations about success. One of the things that I would encourage listeners to do, if you want to follow me, is to go to wherever you subscribe to podcasts and download Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership. Subscribe to that brand new podcast. This is where I talk with other leaders, and we share the real information of what it takes to be successful on purpose. We also talk about whiskey, and we also talk about jazz, but just real conversation as to what it takes to be successful on purpose. And I'm just so excited that we're going to have Beatrice back so that we can continue this particular conversation.
Good stuff, Galen. I got a little nudge that someone else wants to speak up again. Ursula.
Yes, I was so bent on practicing what I learned this morning in terms of what Beatrice shared. She said you have to start with a mindset and start your day with the mindset that you want for the day. And so I was focused on sharing about my books. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Beatrice, for getting me focused, but that was a little bit too focused. I want to say thank you to you. Great show.
Good stuff. Yeah, Beatrice, thank you so much again. We truly appreciate you for coming through today. And we're going to ask you in advance, or as someone on this show will say, we're going to voluntold you again to come back to this to the show for sure. I actually have a page of notes here about Ann McNeil said this also about the growth sector. We have a guest, we have an audience member who is really interested in getting into the home health sector, which is definitely a growth sector in light of our pandemic and moving forward. So hopefully she was able to listen to this show today. And then lastly, I want to finish off with, this topic has a lot to do with power. And so hear me out on this. Who are you giving power to in your life? Right? And now how can you be more powerful and take back some of the power for your ownership of your life and your career? And this conversation has a lot to do with this, with Beatrice talking about, business ownership, entrepreneurship moving forward. How can you switch the narrative? How can you shift this narrative in your own life as you're listening? So stay tuned for Beatrice to return back to the Think and Grow Rich show live. And my name is Dr. Peter James. I am the high performance coach helping you to shift your mindset. You can reach me on any social media platform at Dr. Peter A. James. That's at DrPeterAjames. And I want to pass it right back to Beatrice as we finish off. And Beatrice, one more time, give us your website and contact information just so that everyone will know how to get in touch and even attend that meeting that's coming up in May.
So our website address is F as in Frank, smsdc.org. And on the screen, you'll see the dates for the Business Expo, May 19th through the 20th. We invite the entire community to come on out. We're excited. And I remember that book I want to share, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, The Story of Success. That's another one of my favorite books. And I'm going to continue to practice my 10,000 hours.
Good stuff, Beatrice. Thank you so much to my angels as well. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching, same time, same channel next week, please. We look forward to seeing you back again. In the meantime, please be safe and keep moving forward. Take care.
Thank you.